everyone. Welcome back to Resilient Together RT, which is mainly for stories and sport for single parents. And I am Kiran Pritka, your host, joined today by my co-host Ritika Garg and Jatin Kumar. And we are so excited to bring you an insightful conversation about our topic that affect us all: mental health and emotional resilience.
In today's fast-paced world, stress, anxiety, and emotional burnout have become common challenges. But how do we build resilience and maintain our mental well-being, especially as parents or individuals navigating tough times?
So, to help us understand this better, we have an incredible guest with us today, Dr. Kaveri Bharti, a dedicated family physician with extensive experience in supporting individuals and families with their mental health. Dr. Bharti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and have this important discussion with you all.
Dr. Bharti, many people struggle with stress, anxiety, but don't always recognize the signs. So, from a medical perspective, what are some early indicators that someone mental health needs, like attention?
First and the foremost thing is any change in the behavior. If you find someone struggling to sleep, they are losing their appetite, or even sudden increase in the appetite, either way, they are not focusing on their work, lack of concentration, then someone who's say a very social person, a party person, suddenly stops interacting, suddenly stops attending those parties. So all those are very are pretty much good indicators of you understanding that they need help. And the first thing is just asking them a question: Are you okay? That's a good start. Is Are you okay? Can I help you with something? And often patients who are struggling with mental health, the moment they are asked this simple question, you know the answer. They just open out.
Yes,
Yeah.
means just starting a conversation in any way.
Starting a conversation, acknowledging the fact that they are not around as much as they were before. That's the important point.
And when it comes to the emotional resilience, people often hear the term but may not fully understand it. How would you define the resilience and why it is important?
Okay. For me, emotional resilience is synonym with emotionally strong. Okay. So essentially meaning you being strong enough to cope with day-to-day challenges. Okay. Whether they are emotional, physical, whatever. Because even with physical challenges, you need a good, strong emotional support there. Okay. So for me, emotional resilience means being emotionally strong and being able to face day-to-day challenges of life, face whatever life throws at you.
Exactly. So, let's talk something like practical strategies for mental well-being. For example, like I'm gonna ask, like we know that mental health is not just about avoiding stress, but learning how to manage it, right? So, what are some daily habits or strategies you recommend to build emotional resilience?
First and foremost, talk, talk, talk. In the sense, speak your mind out, speak your heart out. Okay. The moment you stop speaking to your near and dear ones, that's you are going down the rabbit hole, essentially. Okay. So express your emotions, express your feelings to the near and dear ones around you. Build a really good social support is what you need. Okay. And then few things that you can practice on yourself is make sure you spend 30 to 40 minutes just for yourself. Okay, that's your me time. Okay, that's the time where whether you practice mindfulness, means meditation like yoga, whether or tai chi classes, whether you go to the gym, whether you do any daily walk, exercise, jogging, whatever that keeps your mind calm and peace and helps you recollect whatever happened during the day. Okay, so self care essentially. Self care also includes making sure you take a shower, you take a bath. There are many patients when they are struggling with mental health, they just forget to take a bath and they have not even taken a shower for, say, a week, 2 weeks again. So it's then cutting your nails, as simple as self care is anything and everything. Few things which we don't even acknowledge, which we just randomly do every day. That's what the patients with mental health struggle with. So self care, meditation, taking out some time and doing some sort of a physical activity, having a good social peer group, social support, And the moment you feel something is not right, ask for help. Okay. And asking for help does not mean you have to come to a doctor or a family physician for it. Asking for help can be from your friend, from your partner, from your loved one, from your parents, anyone.
Well, that's a interesting thing. What separate the mental individuals who are suffering from mental health? It is because they are not doing the normal activities.
Yeah.
So it is like good to.
I mean, I'll correct you, Hekren. It's not about that they're not doing it, they're struggling to do it. Okay. So it's not that it's their intention that they don't want to do it. They want to do it, but they're struggling to do the normal stuff.
Yes. Okay.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So it's not that they don't want to do it. They want to do it. But the point is, initiating a task is a struggle for them. Okay. So making that initial move to even go and cook in the kitchen or have a meal for themselves is a struggle. So that's, again, that's if you are living with that person in the house, you just understand if someone is not waking up from the bed, for someone who used to like wake up every day, have a meal and everything, and they suddenly stop waking up, stop going to the kitchen, that's like, okay, what happened? Why are you not having your freshly cooked meals and instead ordering takeaways? Something is not right.
Okay. So at that time means basically they just don't have to keep the things in their heart or mind. Just telling each and everything would be a.
That's what I'm saying. Talk, talk, talk. So the more you converse, the more you share, the more you involve people in how you're feeling, the better it is. But at the same time, it's about the people you choose as well. You don't want to be sharing your inner thoughts or the way you feel with someone who's not going to understand it and instead going to be making a mockery of it. So that's not helping either. Or you say, just a few examples, like a traditional mindset, in a patriarchal society, it's a common belief that men don't cry. Okay. And if a man, I know it's about women, but again, mental health is not just about women, it's in all the spectrums there. So if a man who is struggling with his emotions goes and talks to his mom and dad about how they're feeling, for them, mental health does not exist. Okay. And that person who is suffering cannot even cry, so that is not helping him in any way.
Yes.
But instead, he goes to someone who understands and who says that you can pour your heart out. If you want to cry, cry. It works. Similarly, for a woman, again, traditionally speaking, women are not supposed to step out of the house. This is all a very traditional approach there, which is still relevant, prevalent. Okay. And she wants to go out and work. And the reason for her being mentally not well or mental well-being being affected is the fact that she is a homemaker and she wants to be a bit more than a homemaker. Okay. She cannot be all the time with house chores or with kids. She needs her space out, and she talks to someone who doesn't understand that concept. It's a waste.
Yes.
Okay. So it's all about talking to the right people and having the right people who are a part of your social support network.
Well, that's correct. So, that's often a stigma around seeking professional help. How can we encourage more open conversation about mental health and make people feel comfortable reaching out?
See, the point is, there's nothing, the problem is we separate the mental health from physical health. Okay. But the reality is both of them are connected. Okay. If someone comes and talks to you about tummy pain or a headache, everyone literally would say, take Calpol, take paracetamol. You know what? Take Tylenol, take Advil. So everyone is going to say that. Okay. But the moment someone comes and talks, say, I feel like crying, I'm depressed. Okay. The response from the other end is, this is crap. You know what I mean? So the more, like, similar podcasts, webinars, pamphlets, it's just making people aware that physical health and mental health are not separate. They are all interlinked. That's the best we can do. And again, like kids like you who are working with NGOs and the non-government organizations, that's a good stepping stone to let people know that crying is normal. Normalize crying. Okay, that's one best step to sort of ward away your emotions. So normalize crying, normalize feeling depression or anxious. All of these things are normal.
Yes.
Okay, the moment we start normalizing all of this stigma is going to be out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I want to share something here. Like, I am doing my placement with Langar Seva, and there we provide the companionship program to the elder ones. So whenever I visit their home, like they have nobody to even speak. Like they cannot talk. Like they cannot share their emotion with anyone. And when we visit there, they share their things with us and all the things, like whatever they have in their mind. And after that they are like stress, their stress get released, and they share all their problems with us. And I find this like, yeah, it should be, because if they share their things with us, then that means they are like more freely, and even their stress came out easily.
That's very true, actually, Ritika, because isolation is one of the major reasons, and it's one of the
Right.
main struggles with, and it's not just with elderly, it can be with anyone for that matter. Even for a person who has just moved from another country to Canada, if they don't have a friend circle around, isolation can be one of the biggest reasons of being depressed. So that's very correct. And I moved from England, so I've seen the health system of both England and Canada. the, in England, we used to have something called as a social prescriber. Okay. And that social, and honestly, social prescriber can be any of you. And that is basically someone needs to fund you for it because again, you need money. Okay. And what the job of a social prescriber was, like for like elderly population, they used to arrange sort of a meeting in a cafe, like we have book clubs. There used to be those sort of like a coffee meeting wherein all the elderly populations of that nearby neighborhood used to come together and chit chat, a way to ward off isolation. For
Yeah.
people who do not have someone to talk to, you are there so that they can talk.
Yeah,
So
this is the good
that
step
is,
for that.
yeah, that is one of the roles. That was one of the roles of a social prescriber. There were many other roles, but that was one among them which helped. And it helped the elderly population, the lonely population a lot. Just getting dressed to get out of the house was a big achievement for them. And then talking to the people, the more the merrier. Similarly, there used to be game rounds for them, like uh, the like Tambola and stuff, sort of games. So those sort of games which were arranged, which were organized for all these people, they just used to love it.
So like
There's something to think about.
yes, basically if like someone have someone to listen to talk, so it is our biggest step in that era
Yeah,
maybe.
that's something social support. That's the biggest achievement. That's the biggest thing you can do to help this population.
Right. I have like one question, like for single parents, balancing everything like work, home, and emotional well-being can be overwhelming. And what advice do you have for them in the terms of managing stress and seeking support?
No one is a superwoman or a superman. One
Right.
thing at a time, one day at a time. That's all I would say. If you are missing out on something, that's absolutely fine. You can always do that later and never be guilty. As moms, as parents, whether it's a mom or a dad, again, doesn't matter. As parents, we are very fond of being guilty. If we missed our kids say recital, or we missed like in the morning I couldn't say goodbye to my kid when he goes to the play school, I feel guilty. Why was I not there? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I need to realize that that sleep I got for that hour was equally important. Okay. So
Right.
my advice would, a one line advice would be, no one is a super parent. One day at a time, one thing at a time. Prioritize yourself. Only healthy parents give can have healthy kids. If as a parent you are struggling, your kid for sure is struggling. So if you want to give your kid a good stepping stone, you need to be their idol. You need to be strong. You need to prioritize yourself.
So I have right now one question for you, like it's kind of really tricky one maybe. So how can family members support someone struggling with mental health without overstepping the boundaries? Especially like someone had like we don't want to ask sometime to our family members that how they are feeling. Like it's normal in the families, but asking more than like if they are struggling with any mental health and they don't sometimes want to share with us, maybe they are not comfortable with us, so how we can ask them what we can do for them.
Give them time. That's all I would say. Give them time and make them aware that you are there whenever they need you. When see, everyone cannot talk every time. Okay. So there is always a time frame. You need to give time to the other person to accept what they are going through. It's only after they accept what they are going through that they can then talk about it. You know what I mean? Till the time they don't understand what they are going through, what emotions they are feeling, they cannot really talk about it. So it's all about making them aware you are around if you need them, and giving them comfort that whatever is being discussed with you stays in that closed loop. Yeah. And the other thing is, the other way that you can help is, if you feel that someone is really struggling hard, okay, but they are not really acknowledging that they are struggling, is talk to your family doctor. Because sometimes when those conversations, those questions come from a professional, because the way we ask them questions and the way the family members are going to ask them questions is different, isn't it? And it's being assured that even if you tell your family doctor that so and so, I'm worried about my, say, hypothetically speaking, my mother, I'm worried because of so and so things, your family doctor is not going to open the conversation to your mom by saying your son told me this. So you are already in the safe zone. It's just going to be it's just going to be an open conversation about how have you been feeling these days. You understand what I mean? And when you say overstepping the boundaries, okay, the biggest mistake we do is sometimes we don't wish to overdo it, but we tend to overdo it. Okay, because patients who are struggling with mental health, they need time, they need space. So it's all about just giving an open-ended question and leaving it to them. The more you pester them with the same questions or similar questions, the farther they are going to go away from you. Because we need to understand that everyone has that safe space around them. You don't need to jump into their space, because if you're jumping into their space, they are moving farther away from you.
Oh, well, there are a lot of amazing things. Thank you so much. Well, I can't say that this podcast is only for mother or parent.
It's for anyone.
Yes, the tips you have given, the ideas, the discussion, it is for every individual, even for us, for everyone. That was such a like meaningful conversation. So before we wrap up, Dr. Bharti, do you have any final message or advice for our listeners?
One day at a time. One day at a time, take it slow and talk, talk, talk. Talk as much as you can. Be open about your feelings. Never hide your feelings. That's the only conversation. That's the only message I'm going to give. Is talk, talk, talk. One day at a time for anyone and everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bharti, for sharing your expertise and insight. This conversation is incredibly valuable for us and our audience, and for the single parents as well.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And to our listeners, remember that mental health is just as important as physical health. Don't be afraid to reach out and take care of yourself.
Yeah, well said.
Yes, so thank you everyone, thank you listeners, and thank you Ritika and Jatin, and thank you so much for
My pleasure.
like giving so much information. So that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you.